Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Dayspring Discussions. This is the show where we talk about movies, comic books, TV, sci-fi, fantasy. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, joining you on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. And with me as well is Miss Lisa Locke McGahee. Say hello, Lisa.
Hello.
Alright guys, so for those of you who are new to the show, this is how it's going to go. I'm going to run down some stories that happened last week involving Marvel, DC, some Star Wars, and Harry Potter. If we have any, do we have any Harry Potter news? I don't know. Do we?
Oh yeah, I think we might.
A little bit. We might talk about that, and then I'll run down miscellaneous stuff. Lisa and I are going to discuss it, and of course, you chime back with your thoughts on social media and on our Gmail account, guys. Well, starting off, just a few housekeeping things to do. For those of you who don't know, the Marvel Netflix series Luke Cage come out on Friday, and allegedly on Saturday, Netflix went down for 2 hours, actually. And some people are saying it's because of the high viewing of Luke Cage. Now, Netflix has come out and said it's not directly because of that, but the fact that there are a lot of people that were getting, viewing Luke Cage at that time might have contributed to the down of Netflix for 2 hours. But in any event, they fixed it and it's up and running and it's good to go. I myself have not finished Luke Cage. I'm about 5 episodes to go. Had a busy weekend, so I'm hoping to finish it in the next couple days, because on Friday I want to do a series review, and then I'm also going to talk about the season premieres of The Flash and Arrow as well. Hopefully I can get someone in here to, banter with.
Me.
Not you, obviously. You don't watch Luke Cage,
Arrow, or Flash.
Exactly. So, like I said, maybe I'll try to find somebody else. If not, it'll just be me here rambling on for a little while. A couple other pieces of Netflix news that came out this morning. Actually, well, yesterday they announced that the Punisher Netflix series has started filming with John Bernthal. I'm sure a lot of people are excited about that, given that in the Dayspring Discussions poll I had last week, he was the best part of the Daredevil series and best supporting actor out of all comic book TV series going on right now. But the one that I'm excited about, they came out just this morning. They did about a 1-minute teaser, a 30-second teaser for the next Netflix Marvel series, Iron Fist. Iron Fist being one of my favorite Marvel characters, and they're premiering the series on March 17th, 2017. That's right, we get Iron Fist for St. Paddy's Day. It's the luck of the Irish, I swear. It's awesome. So I'm excited that it's going to be on St. Paddy's Day. I'm going to go into work. I'm going to request that day off now. I mean, I always like to have St. Paddy's Day off, but now it's just
really, you need the day after St. Paddy's Day off.
Well, that's true, but usually I'm going to check and see. I'll probably do both days more than likely, but definitely St. Paddy's Day. Now that Iron Fist is out, I'll sit at home, have a couple drinks, and watch some Iron Fist. So totally excited about that. All right, guys, so now that that's out of the way, let's get right into the main stories. In an interview with Empire Magazine, Benedict Cumberbatch talked about the possibility of Doctor Strange joining the Avengers for their next film, Infinity War. He said, quote, "The logistic challenge of aligning his schedule with those of Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Elizabeth Olsen, and Paul Bettany has come to the forefront. Quote, to get us all together will be quite something. That's why this character is being introduced to open up the next chapter." Now, Cumberbatch didn't directly come out and say, hey, I'm going to be in Avengers Infinity War, but what other film has all those actors in it that's coming up soon? We've speculated for a while that Doctor Strange might be joining the film, given the fact that we're already going to have all the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy have been confirmed for it as well. Throwing Doctor Strange in there is pretty much a given, I think, at this point, so no one's really surprised by this news, but this just kind of confirmed it. Now, Avengers Infinity War is going to start filming in Atlanta in November and is co-directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, who did Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. The film itself is set to come out May 25th, 2018. Lisa, does this news surprise you at all?
No, I don't even know why we're talking about it, because
because I needed something to talk about.
I'm just really. I know, I was like, why are we even discussing this? It's obvious. He's duh.
Well, I mean, you got to think of the scope of this film as well.
It's 67 or whatever.
60,
people
exactly.
are going to be in
We never
it,
did our list, too.
Obviously.
We're going to do a list of the characters, because the Russo said there's going to be like 68 or 67 Marvel characters, but we never did our list.
Right, so obviously.
Because I don't believe there's actually 67 characters in the Marvel universe to get that number, but maybe we'll do our list after all. But yeah, there's no surprise really.
Yeah.
The excitement level, I think, for the regular Joes are going to come after Doctor Strange comes out, when they actually take a look and they see how much they like Cumberbatch and how much they like Doctor Strange. And I bet there's going to be some kind of teaser at the end of Doctor Strange that is hinting that he will be in Infinity War. So that will again get them more excited for Infinity War. Here's what I think. I think every Phase 3 film at this point is going to point towards Infinity War. I think at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you're going to have a hint at Infinity War. Doctor Strange hint at Infinity War because all these characters are going to come together for Avengers Infinity War, the next film. It makes sense too because the big baddie allegedly is Thanos. He's coming for the Infinity Stones, and there's a rumor because there's still out of 6 Infinity Stones, there's 2 that have yet to be seen on screen, and people are kind of hinting at or speculating that one of them is going to be in Doctor Strange, and then perhaps the other one will be in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So just take a look at the ones there's 4 we've seen right now. We have one with the Collector, Benicio del Toro's character from Guardians. One is with the Nova Prime Corps. The other one is in Odin's chamber, the cube. That's with Odin now. And then of course the other one is inside Vision's head. And of course it's my theory that Thanos is going to come get those stones and he's just going to wreak havoc. He's going to break down Odin's trophy room, and that's going to get Thor in there. And then of course he's going to come for the one the Nova Corps has, and that's going to get the Guardians heads going. And then of course you have Vision. It's my theory that one of the casualties of Infinity War is going to be Vision, because I think Thanos is going to come and just rip it out of his head, and Vision's going to go like that. And that's when the Avengers are going to be like, okay, we got to do something.
You think the Thanos will be able to just do that? I mean, Vision's pretty powerful.
Thanos is pretty powerful too, actually. I mean, the thing is, it goes back to Captain America Civil War with Vision and Scarlet Witch, okay? These are 2 very powerful characters. Scarlet Witch is probably one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe, but we're so early in the character's development, they have yet to unlock the full potential of their power. Mm-hmm. So with Vision, like you said, that was one of the problems people had with Civil War was Vision. He's so powerful, but yet seemed like he hardly did anything in Civil War. Mm-hmm. And again, that's what he was talking about in one of the scenes with the Scarlet Witch, was how he is still studying the gem, still discovering it to unlock its full potential, really is what it is.
Well, maybe the 2 of them working together, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be, that Thanos is just going to be able to come and like, boom, boom, got it.
Not boom, boom, got it.
I mean, I think it's going to be more to that. I think it'll be more I think it'll be harder than you think it's going to be.
Okay. All right, well.
Maybe that'll be the holdout, is that him trying to get that stone.
Well, we'll wait and see. But yeah, Doctor Strange, and that makes sense. Like I said, we're going cosmic. So Doctor Strange, protector of this dimension, of this realm, of this universe. Of course, when this Thanos comes in and tries to collect the powerful Infinity Gems and tries to remake the universe in his image, of course you got to have the Sorcerer Supreme, the protector of the realm in the film. So overall, it just makes sense, I guess. So, well, that's the only piece of Marvel news we had, guys. So we're moving on to DC news. Now, yesterday, just a brief little announcement. DC did come out, or Ben Affleck came out and said that the title of the next Batman film, or the Batman solo film, is going to be titled, wait for this, The Batman.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, really, I mean, what else are they going to call it? I mean, they've used Dark Knight. They've used just Batman before. What else are they going to call it? I mean, they could have called it the Cape Crusader, which is another name for Batman, but really, I think the Batman that's the name of one of the Batman animated series, I believe, that came out too. But in any event, that's why I'm just talking about it now, just to give a little brief little mention about it, is because it's a non-story. It's the Batman. Okay, great. Move on. I don't think there's much to say about it. Now, something that there might be a little bit more to say in regards to DC news is that Greg Rucka, the current writer of the Wonder Woman comic book series, talked to Kamikaze. That's what it is. Yes, I mispronounced it. Bear with me, okay? Anyway, he was in an interview, and the subject of Wonder Woman's sexuality came up, actually. A lot of people believing that perhaps she might not be straight or might not be fully gay. After 75 years of the character, it's kind of come into question at several points. Now, in a lengthy response to this...
You're not going to read that whole response.
I'm going to try to read some of it, okay?
It's very long.
I know, but it's important to get all of it here, so just bear with me for a minute, okay? Rucka said, quote, "Yes, I think it's more complicated, though. There is inherently the problem with Diana. She's had a long history of people for a variety of reasons, including sometimes pure titillation, which I think is the worst. Say, ooh, look, it's the Amazons, they're gay. And when you start to think about giving the concept of Themyscira its due, the answer is, how could they not all be in the same sex relationships, right? It makes no logical sense otherwise. It's supposed to be paradise. It's supposed to be able to live, they're supposed to be able to live happily. You're supposed to be able to, in context where you can, one, live happily, be part of a relationship, and have a fulfilling romantic sexual relationship. The only option on the island is women. But an Amazon doesn't look at each other and say they're gay. They don't. The concept doesn't exist. Now, are we saying Diana has been in love and had relationships with other women? I think as we are approaching it in this series, the answer is obviously yes. Now, this, of course, brought into question her relationship with Steve Trevor, who kind of kicks off the events of Diana coming into the real world. Now, on that part, Rekha said, quote, "She doesn't leave because of Steve. She leaves because she wants to see the world, and somebody must go and do this thing. And she has resolved it much to her own sacrifice. So it's a thorny question. I understand as best as I can the desire to see representation on the page. I don't object to that at all, but my first and foremost is always to serve the character as best I can. For me, all the other questions aside, and there are many legitimate reasons to ask the question, the answer first and foremost must be yes, because otherwise it takes away from Diana's heroism." Now, like I said, Wonder Woman has been around for 75 years now. It's her 75th anniversary. We finally saw her brought to the big screen this year by Gal Gadot in Batman v Superman. Gadot. She always calls me on that. Gal Gadot in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. And she's getting her first full-length film next year, Wonder Woman, again, played by Gal Gadot. And people are wondering if this question might come up in the film as well. I highly doubt it, but
it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant at this point. I never really saw the character like that because, again, her relationship with Steve Trevor and her relationship at some points with Superman and Batman as well. So I never really saw the character. I mean, from what he said, of course, it makes sense. But again, it is irrelevant to the character. I guess it's just that point now where it's all about the shakeups. Comic companies like DC and Marvel are trying to diversify. You know, they're trying to bring in the minorities and, you know, the LGBT characters, and they're shaking it up a bit, not only by introducing new characters, but also changing their old characters as well. Marvel changed, came out and had Iceman, one of the prominent X-Men, as gay. Then, of course, there's that shakeup where they had a few months ago where Captain America was a secret Hydra agent the whole time. I think it's just a way for, again, for sales is what it is. Now, whether the character is or isn't, that's, you know, again, I guess irrelevant. But the reason behind this is the whole story is you have the conservative base who, you know, see Wonder Woman as that feminist icon, having an issue with it, of course.
The conservative base already has a problem with a feminist icon. Period.
Well, she's a positive, you know, she's the most dominant female influence in comics, of course. So they're just, of course, a little shaken by the fact that she, you know, might swing both ways, so to speak. So which I can see. You know, it's really one of those stories that shouldn't be a story, but it is a story, really. But in any event, anything else to say on that?
I mean, I think what he's saying, I don't think that it doesn't sound like, from what I'm getting from his statements, it's not like they're all of a sudden saying now, we're going to make Wonder Woman gay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it sounds to me like what he's implying is, if there's a woman who lives in an entire society of women, it stands to reason that there will be relationships amongst them. Well, it's like, for example, and I'm not trying to correlate Wonder Woman to this, but like in prisons. Men in prisons have relations with other men because there are only men, and humans have a sexual instinct. It's an innate desire to have sexual satisfaction. So when you are only surrounded by your same sex, you will inevitably form relationships within your same sex. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're gay or that you're straight. There's no label necessarily required. And so it sounds like that's what he's kind of saying with her, is that sure,
she grew up in a society full of women.
If she grew up in a society of women, there aren't men there to have a love for. There's only women. So that's who you develop your relationships with. And once she left that area, then she's having relationships with men as well. Yeah. So she's not like necessarily, it's not like they're all of a sudden saying now, hey, like they have in some of the other cases where they all of a sudden take a character that's been around for a long time and make that character gay.
Hey, guess what? You're gay.
Right. That's not what they're doing here. And I do think it's worth noting, too, that in his statements, he's also trying to reiterate the fact that she is a strong, dominant, independent woman. It's like emphasizing she didn't leave for a man.
Yeah.
She left because she wanted to leave, because it was what she needed to do. It wasn't because she was following her little new love interest out of her home. That's not what. That's not who she is.
I've never seen that as in the Wonder Woman myth. I've never seen that as. I mean, a lot of the interpretations of her origin story has been like she doesn't leave because of Steve. Steve is just a trigger that makes her leave because she is curious about the outside world, because she does become that ambassador from Themyscira as well. And it also, they're talking about, there are times where, it's set during World War I, like is what the film is going to be like, where she sees man destroying each other and wants to do something about it, really.
But I mean, it just goes to even further, accentuate the feminism in her, is that she doesn't need, it's not about the men, it's not about a man. It doesn't mean she's gay, it just means that she's an independent woman and she does what she wants. She feels what she feels. It doesn't have anything to do with if you're a man or a woman or what. She's strong. She's a feminist. She's like an ideal feminist character.
When you said independent woman, all I can think of is that Destiny's Child song. Throw your hands up.
I know what song you're talking about.
I know. Now it's stuck in my head. It's going to be stuck in my head. But okay, all right. So let's get off of that subject. Moving off of DC news, because that's again the only thing we had. There's no really Star Wars news unless you want to talk about Rebels. Do you want to talk a little more about the latest Rebels episode?
I need to watch it again.
Okay, we just want to talk briefly about kind of the big reveal or the big.
Sure.
Okay, so for those of you who didn't watch this last week's episode of Rebels, some of us caught it on Saturday night, some of us caught it a little later. It happens. But in the episode, Darth Maul returns and he takes Maul. My bad, that's right. He's no longer Darth because he's not a Sith anymore. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Maul returns, takes Hera, Zeb, and Sabine captive because
Chopper,
whatever. Anyway, that's like saying you take the family dog captive. Okay,
that counts.
As opposed to the actual people in the house.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, because he wants the Sith holocron that Ezra has, but of course Kanan had taken it to the Bendu. So Kanan and Ezra have to go back and get it from the Bendu, and then they have to face down against Maul, because Maul wants to combine the Sith holocron with Kanan's Jedi holocron, because if you combine the two, there's allegedly you can see the future and basically answer any question in the universe, from what I understand. And Kanan, and before, as they're combining them, Ezra says he's looking for a way to destroy the Sith, and Maul says that he's looking for hope. Whatever that entails, I don't know. But while combining the holocrons, Maul starts spouting, he lives, and Ezra says, twin sons. Now, this kind of gives us a hint, maybe they're trying to throw us off, but the first thought that comes to everyone's mind is twin sons, Tatooine, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Maul's relationship with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then he speeds off, so there's the idea or the inclination that we're going to get a showdown between Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine coming up. Now, Ezra said also he saw planets he didn't know, things he couldn't understand, and maybe that'll be worked out a little while longer. But in regards to Obi-Wan coming into the series, do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, it is. I think it's a great idea. I look forward to seeing Maul and Obi-Wan.
Well, because like I said, I was in that long theory I had where it had to be Obi-Wan that takes out Maul because of their whole relationship. But then the fact that Maul came in at the end of season 2 and him and Ezra had that relationship with and what he did to Kanan, I could see him going out with, either Kanan or Ezra as well. But the fact that they're now hinting that they're bringing Obi-Wan back into the fold, I'm going to reinstate my theory. Obi-Wan's taking Maul down.
Mm-hmm. I hope so. I think that would be an awesome...
Now, what I love, one thing they talked about, what John Campea talked about on their Collider Rebels recap, is that really you have double meaning kind of with all of this, because Ezra, like I said, he's looking for a way to destroy the Sith. So what does he see? He sees Tatooine, where Luke is, and of course Luke eventually destroys the Sith, taking out the Emperor and Vader. So that's kind of a little foresight as well. But also, with Maul, I thought about this when he says the word hope. Well, it just so happens that the title of Episode 4 is A New Hope. And of course, he sees Tatooine as well. And A New Hope in that film is allegedly the hint of Luke as well. So that's why they both, I think, see Tatooine. They're not, he sees Obi-Wan, but really the answer to both their questions, I feel, is Luke. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, but I mean, obviously, Ezra and Kanan never get there. Mm-hmm. I mean, the story that plays out in Episode 4 can't happen.
Yeah, I mean,
if Ezra and Kanan ever...
Well, they're not there by the time, R2-D2 and C-3PO show up. We don't know if they'd ever go there.
I guess.
We don't know. That's to say,
I'm just saying, if Ezra and Kanan were not a part of the rebellion that was taking place in Episode 4, something has happened to them between now and then.
That's what's saying.
Which means they never get to Luke, because when Luke...
They don't get to Luke, they might go to Obi-Wan. So I'm saying, Obi-Wan's out chilling, and as we know from, comics and other forms of media, Obi-Wan, he's not just sitting out there twiddling his thumbs, he's involved in some stuff, he's doing some stuff, just we don't see as much of it. So there is there could be a story where Maul shows up and Kanan and Ezra show up, but then they leave, of course, for the events of the first film. Now there's, of course, something's going to happen to the crew of the Ghost before Episode 4, because we don't see any of them as well. What that might be, we don't know. Maybe they all show up on Tatooine and Maul maybe gets the better of Kanan and Ezra. Don't know. Mm-hmm. We'll wait and see. But in any event, it was a great episode. Yeah. A lot of speculation to be had from it. For a second episode, or a third episode really, from a season, it's I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this season is shaping up to be pretty good.
We'll just have to wait and see what comes of it. Okay. So stepping off Star Wars, let's talk about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. The fourth and final trailer for the upcoming film Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them debuted last week, as well as a new poster for it. So the film takes place in 1926 New York, where Newt Scamander, played by Eddie Redmayne, has just completed a global excursion from documenting extraordinary animals of the magical kind. Now, he arrives in New York and meets a nomad named Jacob. He misplaces the magical case, and then some of the creatures allegedly escape from it, which sets off the events of the film. Now, this trailer was a little long, I think. I think it gave a little bit away, a little too much away, in my opinion. But,
I think it probably didn't. We don't know what the movie's going to be about.
I think it did.
I don't think so. I think we're going to, when we see the movie, we're going to find out that it didn't really give anything away.
But anyway, it's also noted saying that this is the actual first screenwriting debut of the Harry Potter writer J.K. Rowling. Of course, all the Harry Potter books were our Harry Potter films were based off the books that she wrote. And this film is based off a textbook from Hogwarts, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
It's not really based off of it. It's just that there is a textbook written by Newt Scamander about magical beasts.
And they used it to spin it off, really.
Not really, no. I mean, I would hardly even say that. It's not even it's not based on that book. That book is literally like an encyclopedia of animals. This is just a movie. It's about the author of that book. It's not based on that book.
Well, what if we see in the movie where he's writing the book, throughout the film?
Either way, it's not based on the book. The book is that's like
okay. Anyway,
you see what I'm saying? It's about the author.
I'm going to say spin-off. I'm using the word spin-off. That's it's a spin-off film, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say it's a spin-off. We'll just leave it at that. All right. So this trailer came out. You saw a lot of more magical creatures from this than we have before. Also see a lot more magic being done too. Some of the highlights for me in this trailer, first off, was his briefcase. I thought that was really cool. First, him coming out of the briefcase, but also when the character, the nomad Jacob, fell into the briefcase and you saw what actually was inside there, almost like a mini apartment of some kind or something. We know in the briefcase that's where he holds his magical creatures as well. So is it bigger than that? I'm curious how that all worked out, but it's magic, so really they can just do whatever the hell they want when it comes to time and space, I think. But briefcase was cool. Of course, the mention of No-Majs as well, saying, Scamander was like, well, we call them Muggles, letting you know the differences between the American and British versions of the magical community. And that's the kind of thing with this film I'm looking more to explore. Just the film in general, opening up the world, opening up the wizarding world. We've seen, I think, just a small portion of it in Harry Potter. Now we get to go across the pond and see how the other wizards live here in America as well. So hopefully they seem a little more controlled, I think, in the way they use their powers. Or maybe it's just because it's an older, set before the events of Harry Potter, as far as trying to keep a tighter lid on No-Majs seeing magic.
I didn't get that vibe at all. It sounds exactly like it did in Harry Potter.
Okay. Anyway, so moving on to my next thing, all the creatures. We all saw a lot of creatures going on. What was that? Do you know what that flying one creature was? Like it looked like a hawk kind of thing or whatever. I feel like it looked very familiar because at first I looked at it like, was that? No, that's not a phoenix. No. It didn't look at all, but I feel like I've seen that creature before in like one of the other Harry Potter movies or something like that. But another thing was, of course, the fact that it's set in 1926. I love the old style, all the clothing and wardrobe in it. That looks like it's going to be pretty fun to watch. And of course, the stuff they do with the magic in regards to clothes. The two female characters, how they looked like they were sitting outside a club. And they just like magically changed into their dresses or whatever. Again, just expanding the world. Looked pretty cool. The effects look great. The effects look really good on that. But overall, like I said, a final trailer and gets me more excited for the film. I know it gets you more excited for the film.
Yeah, I'm much more excited now. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, for your tone definitely sounds that way.
Well, everything.
Great tone for that. Yes.
Well, I don't know. Everything I've said today, you've totally dismissed. So I don't know.
I haven't dismissed. What have I dismissed?
Whatever. I'm excited for it. Yes, I'd like to see it in IMAX, and I don't normally want to see it.
All right. So the film comes out November 18th, guys. So a little over a month away. So before then, of course, we're going to see Doctor Strange, and then we got this, and of course Rogue One. So it's going to be a busy winter for us. I think it's going to be some good films coming out. Lots to see. All right, guys. So. Stepping off of Harry Potter and jumping into the miscellaneous topics. Something else maybe Lisa might have a few more cents to throw in on this. In regards to the film franchise Twilight. It's been 4 years since the last film came out, which was Breaking Dawn Part 2. And Lionsgate co-chairman Patrick Wachsberger said that there's still a possibility for more films, and why not? The films altogether domestically raked in $1.3 billion and $3.3 billion worldwide. Speaking with Screen Daily, Wachsberger said, quote, "It's a possibility. Not a certainty, but a possibility. It's about Stephanie Myers. If she wants to tell a story related to those characters, we're more than game for it." And then, of course, he went on to mention a few years ago that Stephanie Meyer did come out with a 10th anniversary version of a Twilight book, which swapped the genders of Edward and Bella. Now, I think one of the reasons Wachsberger is kind of eager to say yes to more Twilight is the fact that some of their other adult movie franchises haven't panned out, such as the Divergent series. The last film was set to come out, and because of the low grossing totals of the last film, they decided that they're going to turn it into a TV movie and possibly a spin-off TV series. So, the possibility of more Twilight stories. Lisa, as a fan of the Twilight series, do you think there's more stories to tell?
Well, yeah, I think there could be, but I don't think there will be.
No?
I think even his statement, he's just trying to appease people who want it. Stephanie Meyer has never made any inclination that she's planning on writing more in that storyline. I mean, they wrapped it pretty nice and tidy up at the end.
Yeah, with those do you think they could, I mean, just like J.K. Rowling is going back to the Wizarding World, but not having Harry Potter, Do you think they could step back into that vampire world but not have Edward and Bella?
I mean, I think that they could, but I don't think that they will.
Would you want to see it? How about that?
Oh, I don't know. It depends.
I mean, I'm a definite no on that. But
it depends. I mean, if Stephanie Meyer writes them, sure. I mean, I liked the Twilight stories.
Did you read that other one, the gender
no,
swapping book?
I didn't read the gender swap one.
No?
But I mean, I think even based on his statements, it's a possibility. Like, he's totally just... Somebody asked the question and he didn't want to be like, no, it's not going to happen. There is nothing in plans for this.
It's like when people say, oh yeah, we might think about doing another Beetlejuice movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've been saying that for 20 years.
Yeah, this is not going to happen. And it certainly would not be a Bella and an Edward story. Number one, because Edward has obviously aged now. And so has Bella.
Well, obviously
so they can't be in any more Twilight movies. So...
Do you think they'd reboot it? Do you think they
No, I don't think I don't think they would reboot.
I mean,
it.
yeah,
Not yet,
obviously.
Anyway. I don't think people need a reboot yet. The other ones are holding up fine right now.
Can you see like 20 years doing a reboot, or
maybe if these stories hang on to their popularity? I mean, I think it's more likely for Harry Potter to reboot than
I
Twilight.
think. Obviously, I think Harry Potter has a much more worldwide appeal. Mm-hmm. Twilight, I'm not sure how it is overseas.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't think that the interest in Twilight has held up like it has in the Harry Potter. I mean, Harry Potter has been, re-released so many times, and every time it is, I buy it. Twilight, I got my Twilight books, and I'm good.
You got your movies, you watch.
I'm good. But I just think even just based on his statement, this is not a story. It's not they're not rebooting this. They're not continuing it. There's not gonna be any more Twilight movies. Stephanie Meyer is not writing more Twilight books right now. There was something going around Facebook a couple weeks ago, too, or maybe a couple months ago, where people were sharing it around about the alleged Stephanie Meyer writing this new book. It's total shit. It's not happening.
Haven't we heard about that since, the last Twilight came out, I believe?
Yeah, it's not happening. She was done writing Twilight. She started trying to write other things. Mm-hmm. Which
really hasn't panned out too well, so maybe she'll go back to Twilight.
I don't know, but I don't think, unless it has Edward and Bella, I think that was the draw for Twilight. It wasn't the vampire mythology.
For me, it's the opposite. That was the thing I didn't like about.
Yeah, you didn't like them at all.
I liked them. No, I liked the mythology of the wolves and the vampires. I liked the mythology of it. It was mainly Bella, but it was their romantic relationship that I didn't like about actually.
Right, but I'm saying that's what I'm saying. The people who were into the Twilight series liked it because they liked the love story of it. She's not going to write more books to cater to people who didn't like her first one. She's going to want to write more to cater to the people who did.
Okay, but say they came out with a new Twilight book or a new Twilight movie that did not have Edward or Bella in it, okay? And like I said, for a person like me who didn't like Edward and Bella, okay, first off, the people who do like Twilight, they're going to buy it no matter what. They're going to watch the movie no matter what. Me, I like the mythology, but I don't like the characters. So if you set it in bring in new characters, but have that same mythology, I might be more inclined to come in, much like some other
I still don't
people.
think you would, though. It wouldn't be in her best interest to waste her
Well,
time
I have issues with the vampires as well. The wolves are the coolest part. But.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point exactly. It would there is no benefit. Nothing good comes out of her doing this. And the guy was totally talking out of his ass. There's no plan for this.
Well, like I said, he's a guy who, none of their other franchises are panning out for him.
Yeah, so he's just trying to give people hope. But it's not going to happen.
I think it's one of those things where, it's in a Warner Brothers, J.K. Rowling sense. Pretty soon, I think we're going to hear those dump trucks of money backing up into Stephanie Meyer's yard, being like, please give us something, please. I think that's what's going to happen. But, all right, guys. So, moving off of that horrible, horrible franchise into another horrible, horrible franchise, director Michael Bay got in a bit of a hot water recently in regards to filming his latest Transformers film, Transformers: The Last Knight. Now, they were filming at the birthplace of the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill as the site of a Nazi headquarters facility for the upcoming film. Now, this kind of had a bit of an outrage from some people, given the legacy of Churchill and his involvement in fighting the Nazis during World War II. Even Churchill's own grandson came out and said the idea is idiotic. Now, Bay and the crew have been going throughout England or Europe, filming stuff for the franchise. They were in London, they were in the Scottish Isles, and of course they went and filmed a little bit over here in Detroit as well. Now, this kind of adds to the story. The story of this sounds very, very weird. I'm not sure where they're going with this last film. Okay, so let me set this up for you. Because originally they were talking about is going to involve King Arthur. That Optimus Prime has returned to Earth in search of an artifact that ties to King Arthur and Merlin, has to do with some time travel and going back to World War II Nazis and all this other stuff.
It sounds like a shit show.
No real plot details have been given except these little things. We know that it involves King Arthur. We know that it involves Nazi Germany or Nazis,
which is a very weird combination.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be like a time travel thing where like something happened to where the Decepticons go back and change time to where the Nazis, won World War II, and now Optimus Prime has to go back to get Excalibur to stop them. I don't know. It sounds really
sounds like
really
a
weird.
Disaster.
So the plot is none there, but I mean, like I said, the story is about how some people are finding it disrespectful in Churchill's legacy that Bay is shooting all this at the birthplace of Churchill, as opposed to just recreating someplace instead. Do you feel it's disrespectful, or on this what to say monument, I guess you could call it?
It's not a monument though.
But it's like Churchill was one of the leading guys.
No, I agree. I'm just saying it's not a monument.
In any event,
yeah, I
do you feel it's a controversy, or do you feel like people are just getting uppity for no reason?
No, I do think. I don't think that's a good idea to be filming a Nazi thing at Churchill's home. That's kind of
in bad taste.
Yeah, it is in bad taste.
Yeah, regardless of what the film will be like, I can see that. I mean, it's weird though because
that would be like using Lincoln's house to film a slave scene from a movie. Like, it doesn't. It's like the thing he fought against, and you're gonna. Like, it just seems like they surely could have found a better place.
To me, it surprises me too. I guess because Bay, I know, has a lot of respect for the U.S. military and kind of their history. So to go over there to England and basically crap all over their history, it just doesn't seem like something he would do. Maybe he's looking for that authenticity, but he easily could have spent a little bit more money, as much money as they're spending on this film, and just recreated, the place as opposed to using the actual site. Yeah. But in any event, I think the film's going to be crap anyway, so not much to worry. It kills me because, I love Transformers, I love the King Arthur myth, and, I like World War II, learning about that history, but the Transformer franchise is just, it's circling the drain. I really hope this film...
It's already down the drain.
It's already down the drain. Well, that's the thing, too, okay? Because people are talking about this, how... Okay, before the announcement of this film came out, they said they were getting a whole group of writers together, of prominent writers, to come up and do story ideas for a Transformers cinematic universe, okay? And they spent weeks, or a week, or a few days, or whatever, thinking of story ideas for Transformers, okay? This is what they came up with. Yeah. And like all these like famous writers like Stephen Estonite and the guy who wrote Walking Dead and a few others, they're like, this is what they came up with. This, granted, of course, we have to wait, try not to judge before we see the product or a trailer. Of course, we are going to judge it just solely based off the last Transformers film, of course. But yeah, to think that this is what they came up with is a little disappointing. I think what people are speculating is like, yeah, they came up with something good. They showed it to Michael Bay, and he's like, yeah, this is crap, and then came up with his own story. In any event, we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. Is it going to bake into a nice, delicious cake, or is it going to be a turd sandwich?
Turd sandwich.
All right, so moving on to some happier news, I guess, depending on how you're going to look at it. Disney has confirmed that director Jon Favreau will be doing a reimagining of the classic Disney film, The Lion King. Now, Favreau just did a quote-unquote live-action version of The Jungle Book that raked in almost $1 billion worldwide.
And it was awesome.
And so they want to continue their trend of taking their classic animated stories such as Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty, and Beauty and the Beast is coming out soon with Emma Watson, and this is another one they're going to turn into quote-unquote live action. Now, no details as far as when the film is going to be released yet have been come out, although they are saying they are going to fast-track the production as well, and it is going to include songs from the original 1994 film, which is good considering the film won Academy Awards for Best Original Score, and the song Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John won Best Song as well. So Lion King coming at us, quote unquote, I'm going to keep doing the quote live action because it's really not live action, because of course it's all going to be CGI. But Jon Favreau doing it, I don't know.
I don't think we need this.
That's how I feel. When you think of it, okay, yes, in the Jungle Book, they were able to take these, the effects and do a really great job at these talking animals. But I think I'm on the same camp as you. Why?
Why? That's my whole thing. Like,
I mean, obviously, the why is to make money,
but it doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, the Beauty and the Beast makes sense. Like, I mean, especially getting talent like Emma Watson.
Well,
like, I think it's going to be awesome. I mean, I know Cinderella, you guys really like that.
Yeah.
But the Lion King, like, the original Lion King it holds up. It's so good. It lends itself to an animated
style.
Format.
And that's what I'm kind of thinking too. Is okay. I can see the other films because guess what? The prominent people in those films
are still
humans. There are
exactly.
no humans in The Lion King, and if they throw humans in there, I'm gonna be super pissed.
Yeah, I just don't think this is necessary.
And yeah, so it's just a way for them. They're trying to capitalize on the success of their live action films, off the success of the Jungle Book. They got Little Mermaid in the works as well, and almost all their animated stuff has got something live action coming along the way. They're going to continue to do it.
I mean, I don't understand why they don't just make new things. Like, why do they have to keep dipping into the pot? Their new stuff they come out with is really good. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't understand why they're wasting.
Well, they need live action stuff. Their live action stuff isn't really actually working out too well for them. So maybe that's why. I mean, exactly. Name a live action Disney film that has been a success lately.
I think there have been. I just don't always know that they're Disney.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, they have their animated division. They need live action stuff to come up with.
But they do live action. Where's your phone? Get your phone. They've done good Disney. Disney has come out with good movies.
The thing is, I'm not saying they don't do live action. I'm saying they need successful live action films.
Right, but I think that they... I don't want to look it up. You look it up.
Anyway, I'm just saying, can you name a live action Disney film within the last 5 or 6 years that, besides, these films that has, been a success?
I don't know, because I don't always know who made them.
Exactly. So, I mean,
I couldn't tell you a Lionsgate film has made success.
But you would
I
know.
Can't tell you a Warner Brothers film.
If it was successful, you would know about it.
So that's not. I'm saying I couldn't tell you right now a successful Warner Brothers film or a successful, New Line Cinema film. I don't know who freaking makes them.
Okay, but you know who did the Jungle Book?
Only because Jon Favreau did it, and because it was made a Disney movie. It was
because you liked it. Because you really liked it.
It's because it was based on a Disney movie. It was a Disney movie reinvented, like a Disney animated movie. Mm-hmm. That's why I know it was Disney. Because it was a Disney movie. Done again.
All right. I'm just saying, because you can't name any Disney films that have come out in the last few years and been successful, to me that means they weren't successful.
I think that's flawed logic.
Okay, maybe it is flawed logic, but that's my logic, so there you go. But any events, Lion King, I mean, I think to me, Lion King, maybe just because it came out when I was a kid, I think it is the best Disney animated film ever made. Okay? Definitely in the top 5. I think no one will argue top 5. For me, I think it's the most well done, story-wise, animation, music, all that stuff. There's some contenders, but I'll put Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. Those are, right there. Okay? If I throw in the Pixar films, that's a whole different story. But just, animated, I think that Lion King is top king of the hill, so to speak. So it's like, they always say, or John Campea always says, just because we're getting this film doesn't mean it's going to ruin the original, because we're always going to have the original. I don't see it working out, honestly. I mean, yeah, it's cool. It's going to be lions talking, but I don't see really the appeal of coming out. Plus, let's think about this for a sec. You know how heartbreaking it was to see Mufasa's death animated? Can you imagine the trauma it will cause if it's more real in a live action form? That's just going to be even more gut-wrenching, I think, to little kids and traumatize them even more. So, you looking up the movies?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay, well, probably wait. It'd take a while to get through it. So, while you're doing that, let's move on to a Disney live-action franchise that is coming out with another film. Disney has debuted the first look at the new Pirates of the Caribbean film, Dead Man Tell No Tales. Now, it premiered on TV right after the season finale of The Walking Dead. This is the 5th film in the Pirates franchise. The first one debuted in 2003, which was The Curse of the Black Pearl, followed by Dead Man's Chest, At World's End, and in 2011, which was the last Pirates film, was On Strange Tides. Now, in the trailer, we see, obviously, pirates as well, but it's Javier Bardem plays Captain Salazar, and he has his captive, Henry is the name of the character. So the official plot of the film is that Jack is pursued by Salazar, who has escaped the Devil's Triangle with his ghost crew and is now determined to kill every pirate at the sea. To defeat him, Jack must seek the Trident of Poseidon, a powerful artifact that grants whoever possesses it total control of the sea. The film is being directed by, I'm going to mispronounce these names, Joachim Ronning and Espen Sandberg. They're most notably done for doing a couple episodes of Netflix's Marco Polo series. Now, this film is going to see return as Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, obviously, Captain Jack Sparrow, sorry. And then we're also going to see Jeffrey Rush back as Barbossa, Kevin McNally as Mr. Gibbs, and the return of Orlando Bloom as Will Turner. The film comes out May 26, 2017. It definitely was a teaser trailer because we didn't see Jack Sparrow in it at all. Really what it was is kind of introducing the villain, Javier Bardem's character. And like I said, just a little teaser to it all. Lisa, you saw this. I know you didn't see the last Pirates movie, but you saw the three before that. What did you think? Not thinking about, just thinking as a film in general, do you think it looks appealing at all?
Well, it was just like a teaser. It didn't really... I mean, I think Javier Bardem looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I think he plays a good villain. He did a good job in Skyfall. He's a great actor. So I think in that respect, he definitely sold it.
I mean, I hardly would say he sold it. I still have no desire to see this movie. But, I mean, I think he looked interesting. I think if you liked the first four, then sure, you're going to go see this. I don't think this trailer, this premise is going to get people back, like me, who have gotten out of bleh. I mean, I thought the third one was crap.
Yeah.
Really the second and third, I didn't really love either of them. And I didn't even see the fourth one.
Obviously, the first one's good.
Yeah, the first one, I love the first one.
First Pirates movie. The second one I liked, but it was ruined the fact that it was a continuation for the third one, right? Mm-hmm. You know, like it led directly into the third, kind of like the Matrix movies, okay?
Right, like the second and third were really one movie cut in half.
The first one stands on its own, and the second and the third one were one story put together. Mm-hmm. But what happened, the third movie sucked, so it kind of ruins the second movie as well.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I didn't love the secand and third.
Yeah, so
I didn't even see the fourth.
I liked the second one. The third one, the problem is, I felt like they took a kind of a believable story, and they just blew it way out of proportions. They took what's-her-name and made her like a giant and did all this weird, crazy, magical stuff. And I think they took it to that next level that it shouldn't have gone to. Mm-hmm. They should have kept it smaller. And it just went really, really weird for me. So that's why it lost me. And then the fourth one, I didn't see in theaters because I was so turned off by the third one. I saw it when it came to DVD. And even then, it was just like, I think it was better than the third one, but it was still like, meh.
Yeah, I just feel like this series, it's kind of a little too late. Like, people, I just don't, I mean, I think that Javier Bardem looked cool. I mean, this trailer, it was certainly a hardcore teaser. Like, it didn't really tell you anything at all, really.
Yeah.
I just don't, it wasn't enough for me to be like, okay, I think maybe I'll give this another try. I mean, maybe when we see a trailer that actually has Jack Sparrow and Will Turner in it. Like, I mean, I thought it was weird that when Orlando left the series, the thing, and now that he's back, like, I don't know. I mean, I liked him a lot in the first one. So it's
kind of like this with the franchise too, okay? Because when you look at that first film, or even that first trilogy, okay? Jack Sparrow is a supporting character, okay? Our hero in that trilogy is Will Turner, okay? And it's like Luke Skywalker to Han Solo, okay? He's there to support the hero. But then they took and they made Jack Sparrow front and center, and I think that's where they lost some of their appeal, some of the story, is they focused more on Jack Sparrow than they did Will Turner. And I liked, if you look at Will's character arc throughout the first trilogy, I actually like where they went with the Will character at in that trilogy as well. It's just, like I said, I think the film, they saw the popularity of Jack Sparrow, and again, they tried to capitalize on that, putting him front and center, and it's kind of where it lost its way a little bit. Maybe we're bringing Orlando Bloom back and maybe focusing more on him. They might regain some of their appeal, but I don't see that given the fact that Jack Sparrow is still the most talked about character of the franchise. I think they're still going to put him front and center, and I think it's going to be a mistake. What I'm curious too, what I never understood was Jeffrey Rush was fantastic in that first movie as the villain. Why do they keep bringing him back as like a partner for Jack Sparrow? I don't get it. I mean, he doesn't belong. You could take him out of the film, and I think it would be perfectly fine. He doesn't really serve a purpose except for to have banter with Jack Sparrow. Mm-hmm. He has no point except for just the banter. Serves no purpose. By taking that character and drawing him out more in all 4 films, they've taken away the effect he had in that first film. Mm-hmm. I think so. I think they lost their way with the franchise. Excuse me. Much like the Transformers franchise, which we last talked about. They took the first film. No one's disputing those first films were great. But then they took what was so popular about those first films, put them front and center, and then we realized that it doesn't really work that well. There have been several franchises where they take these popular supporting characters and they give them their own spin-off film, and then the spin-off film doesn't work. Why? Because those characters are good as supporting characters. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, with Transformers, with, Pirates, I think they just, they lost their way because what they're thinking is popular is what they should focus on, and that's just not the way. They need to serve the story. Kind of same way, I'm always going to come back to this, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, okay? They tried to center it. They didn't focus on the story. They focused on what they think people wanted to see, which was Batman. And they came up with a crap theatrical version, and then, of course, they went back and focused on the story for the ultimate cut, and it made it better. In my opinion, at least. I know some people agree with me, some people don't, but in any regards, I like the first pirate movie so much, and even the second film. I want to see a better film. I want to see a good Pirates movie again. I want to see the franchise get back on track. I'm hoping with the return of Orlando Bloom, putting Javier Bardem in this, maybe it does it. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. The thing about this, like this and the Transformers franchises, they're still making money. Until these franchises stop making billions of dollars, the Disney or Paramount or whoever is still going to make the movies how they see is going to make the most money. So until they stop making a lot of money, they're going to continue on this track they've set for the film franchises. But oh well. We will just have to wait, and that's what is what it's all about, guys. If you don't like the way the franchises are going, stop spending money on them.
That's what I have done.
Me, I just wait for DVD. I'll spend $1. I'll spend $1 to see a movie to judge if it's terrible or not at Redbox, but I will not pay $12 or $15 to go see it in theaters. So that's how we talk, people, with our money in general as an economy. That's how we talk. All right, so if you don't like something, stop spending money on it. Okay? All right, guys. Well, that's about all the topics we have for today. Anything else you want to add or talk about, anything like that? Nope. Shaking her head. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for us today. Like I said, I'm going to try on Friday to come back and do a full review of the Luke Cage Season 1. I got to finish it first. That's kind of my priority the next couple days. Hopefully I can slip in a couple episodes here, couple episodes tomorrow, and then be done with it because, like I said, Flash and Arrow start back up, and I really want to watch those too. So I'm going to talk Luke Cage, I'll talk Arrow and Flash, and not just that, but maybe the whole CW universe. I have a couple thoughts more about CW's DC universe and how I think that can be improved a little bit as well. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for us today. Again, chime in with what you think. Dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Go to the Facebook group. Hit us up on Twitter as well. And I'm going to call this out on the Facebook group and on Twitter as well. Send me your thoughts and your questions about Luke Cage as well, or about Flash and Arrow. Next couple days, send me in. Tell me what you thought about Luke Cage. What do you think about the Flash season premiere that's coming out as well? Your thoughts on the DC CW universe. Let me know. We'll talk about it and discuss it on Friday, and we'll get something going, guys. As always, you can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at SlimDayspring12. And that's going to be it for us, right? We're done? Yeah. All right, guys. All right. So until next time, may the force be with us all.